Okay, welcome back to OK Tech. This is part 10 in the series of introductory talks on Microsoft Excel, which is Microsoft's spreadsheet application for quantitative work such as setting out business tables, accountancy, finance, scientific analysis, quantitative analysis, statistics, charting, and so forth. And the previous two parts in this series began to put together a step at a time this two-column side-by-side chart for demonstrating the sales versus the cost month by month, and this was the legend. And we had axis titles before. We can put them back, so if we go to axis title, which is okay, I'll just rehearse that again. Click away. There's no chart options. Don't be surprised not to be able to find them. You need to actually click on the title to find them. And then you've got design options, layout options, format options. So we'll put the axis titles back, which is under layout, title below axis, which was month, and we wanted the title next to the axis, which was sales. No, it's actually amount, isn't it? Because we've got the sale and the spend on the same axis now. And we'll get rid of the chart title, so delete it. And then we'll put the legend at the top somewhere. Notice you can change the legend box. If you shrink it, it appears as if the two legends have disappeared. That's just because, as again, if anything disappears, it's normally because the font was too big. So the other way to get it to reappear is to change the size of that box. So you can either stack your legend vertically, just by pulling the box large enough. If it gets too small, you won't be able to see the bottom legend. Or you can stretch your legend horizontally. Okay, yeah, and we've also got this issue of the font being too big on the bottom. And you can resize your chart. Okay, so that's looking alright now. One last little bit on before I move on. The chart tools includes quite a few other options here, and those options are things like chart layouts. There's all the colors, we've already talked about them, but the chart layouts is the bit that we need to look at now. And basically that just gives you loads and loads of variety of options, and in fact that's because I was playing on it, that's where the titles went away. So it can be a little annoying if you click on one of these options and suddenly it's not only the layout that's changed, but actually more information has gone, for example your chart titles. So if you want to adjust the layout, the best time to do it is before you've done all your formatting. So if you're going to use these blue options here, the best time to do it is before you do all the other formatting, because otherwise when you change it, it will destroy things that you've already done, such as the axis titles. Okay, and you can see various things can be added. This layout adds what's called a data table to the bottom, which just shows you your actual data, the actual numbers below the axis. And another option is like this one here, and that shows you the data values above the top of the bars now, and when they're placed there, they're called data labels. Okay, well that's not very neat, is it, with these numbers overlapping the bars? So what you can do is you can right click on a series and you'll see format data labels, and then if you click that, you'll get this menu come up, and alignment is the one you want. And similar to how we did it for the axis, you've got the option text direction rotate by 90. 90 tends to make numbers face towards the left of your screen. 270 will make them face towards the right of your screen. So that's normally a little bit neater, because in the case of these bars, that means that you're going to read off the bar and read the number up. It's probably not as good to have it that way around. So rotate 270. Then here's a little trick. You wouldn't, if you wanted to change the other series, you wouldn't have to click off and then click on that series and then right click and go format data labels. You don't need to do that. If you're already in this data labels menu and you're already on the alignment tab of that menu, all you need to do is click on any of those series and it will just jump between the two. So that will save you time. So there it is, you've adjusted the labeling for both those series, and you can change the font colors and everything else. If you right click format data labels and go through there, you'll see various options for how to edit those labels. Okay, so that's it for 2-bar column charts. I'm gonna talk about another chart type now, which, oh no, one last point. If you click on the layout tab, you'll see it here as well, data labels and data table. So adding in the data table, that's the numbers before, and the data labels where we've already got them, but we can take them away again, or we can Control Z and put them back again. And then if you scan across here, I'm not going to talk about trend lines because that's quite statistical. I'll just briefly say moving averages. The moving average is just the average of 2 or 3 months at a time. So if you're not so focused on the specific value in a given month, but you're just concerned with how's it trending from month to month, then that's what a moving average is. So if we go back to that trend line, 2-period moving average. So that's where it stops. That's where it starts, only in the second column. And it gives you just a kind of quick summary picture of your sales. You could do it on the costs as well. Then you've got 2 moving averages, and they've labeled them down here to show you what those charts are, because you've basically got 4 different charts now all plotted on together. You've got the grey bars, the light grey bars, and you've got these 2 moving averages. Okay, the last chart I'm going to show in this video, I'll move this one down because we're done with it now, and I'm just going to plot the profit or loss, show you how you do that. So select the months, and then select, you have to press the control key if you watch the first video. So it's the first column, control key, second column, because these columns are not next to each other, so otherwise if you try and drag across you'll get the whole square. So it's control key down, keep the control key pressed, then press the left mouse key, drag it down, you get the 2 columns, and then press right key, and we want to insert a chart. Or actually the quicker way, I'm sorry, is on the insert menu, and let's say we want to do it as a column chart, just the same. So there we've got it again. We're back to one single column chart, and this time the profit or loss numbers are positive or negative. So we probably don't want the axis labels cluttering up the middle. So if you do format axis, which is the same, left click on the axis, right click, it will bring up all the options, and you want the axis labels to appear at the bottom of the chart. So that was actually not next to the axis. It means that those labels should be low in the chart. You could put them at the top as well, or you could put them at the bottom. Okay, there's only one series, so you can probably get rid of that and just put in a chart title. You'd want to put the axis labels on. I won't bother doing that. The trick I want to show you is how to highlight the negative numbers. So you click basically anywhere on the data, then you right click, then you do format data series, and then you go to fill, and then you go to invert if negative, and that's the trick. You need to click invert if negative, and if you do a solid fill, then you'll get the option to make the positive numbers grey and the negative numbers red, and that's the end of the talk.